so sorry I'm late. I got caught up with stuff at work and I completely lost track of time.
Yeah, you need one of these.
Girl, you know I do not do digital. And as far as I'm concerned, the demise of card catalogs in the libraries was to mark the beginning of the end of Western civilization.
Oh, come on. I know you go online to do research.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming. Okay, well, we all must adapt, right?
Right.
Which brings us to why we're here today.
Yes, accommodations. I found some really good stuff online.
Kicking and screaming?
Hush. This is the stuff that you're going to need for the disclosure statement we were working on the other day.
Okay, so, all right, let's just start with the basics. How do your experts define accommodations?
The term reasonable accommodations is kind of a mouthful, but all it really means is what do you need to be provided to you, or what kind of adjustments or small types of assistance could you use to better be able to perform your job in light of some of the challenges you face with your disability.
That's it? I mean, that could mean just about anything.
Exactly. And what kind of symptoms could you experience?
Well, that's the problem with MS. I mean, it affects everyone differently, and it affects me differently at different times. I could be having fatigue or balance or motor skill problems, or cognitive or memory issues, problems with my speech or vision, or have to go to the bathroom all the time, or, I mean, who knows? And I could be having these symptoms this week, but not last week or next week.
Exactly.
So you just have to think about what are the things that I need and what things can help me. And many times those things are not large or cumbersome or even very expensive. You just need a little more flexibility or a few more small assistive devices in order to be able to continue doing the great work that you're already doing.
Accommodations can be as simple as moving a computer monitor directly in front of you. Raising and lowering or adjusting a chair can make a world of difference in how your body is aligned. Moving items that you frequently access with phones or Rolodex closer to you so you avoid overreaching.
The most common accommodations for people with MS is to be placed near a bathroom, your office near a bathroom, to have air conditioning in your office, to have to walk less, to maybe have things ergonomically situated so that there's less problem with fatigue, flexible schedules, part-time work.
Sheila Becker develops educational programs and products for children that are sponsored by her employer, Procter & Gamble. She found that as her MS progressed, her symptoms were having a serious impact on her ability to do her job.
I was diagnosed about 12 years ago, and originally it wasn't an issue. You know, there had been a couple of little episodes, some optic neuritis and some vision things, nothing that anybody else would be aware of. And it wasn't until probably 5 or 6 years later that I was noticing that my ability to walk long distances, to do anything with a lot of strength, was starting to be impaired a little bit. And one of the things that I was doing at the time was a lot of traveling.
For Sheila, who works at Procter & Gamble's corporate headquarters, just walking from her car to our office became a major challenge.
Even though it's all inside the building, was just becoming the biggest task that I did all day. And by the time I got to my desk, I was trashed.
So she contacted the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and with their help, she had a scooter delivered to her within weeks. But then she was faced with another challenge.
You need to charge it up overnight, and so I needed a place to garage it, if you will, and plug it into it's a little battery charger. So I contacted Procter & Gamble's workplace services group, and within a week or so, they were able to identify a place actually in the garage where I parked my car that had a little storeroom that they set it up with installed an outlet for my charger. So in the morning when I get there, I walk to the little storeroom and unplug my scooter and we're off. I used to go to medical conventions and educational conventions, and we participate in those and talk to the attendees and things like that. That's very tiring. If you've ever been to a convention center, they're huge, lots of walking. So the combination of traveling through the airports, you know, going to the convention center, it was a complete wipeout for me. So what I've had to do was to swallow my pride and say, you know what, the world will go on even if you're not there. You've done a good job training your assistant managers. they can handle it.
Oh, okay. They just need to see a storyboard of what the logos are going to be.
Procter & Gamble has been very good to me as an employer, just when I was healthy and when I had MS. I think that they are committed to their people, and they recognize that their employees are the lifeblood of their company.
Kathy Campbell works for People Working Cooperatively, a nonprofit organization in Cincinnati.
It's kind of exciting because I've been here 11 years. I've run the volunteer program for the first 10 years of that. And so in growing the volunteer program, I got to talk to many of the same groups to recruit their volunteers. And so now I get to go back and tell them about the good work we do.
Wow, Kathy Campbell brings a wonderful set of skills to People Working Cooperatively. She's been here about 10 years, and from the first time we met her, we found just a remarkable source of energy and commitment to our mission. But I think what I like most about her is the heart. And there's just nothing that she won't do or try or give to try to help people. And we're a social service organization, and at the core of what we do, it's about helping people.
Definitely give that a try.
My fatigue is not always predictable, and I know that, at certain times every day I'm going to be tired. And so I keep a couch down the hall in a separate office that I can lay down when I need to take a nap during the day, and then work in the evening if that's what works a little bit easier. Flexible hours are very, very important to me, and I am glad to say that I have never been accused of being lazy. Even though my energy level varies greatly, I have been able to plan and get some work done at home by sending it home on the computer, get all the ideas together and send them back online and pick it up back at work.
Okay, well, let me double check on my calendar here.
Sarah Kidd is a program associate with the American Medical Student Association, a membership organization that represents medical students across the country and internationally. Unlike Sheila and Kathy, Sarah has not been troubled with many physical disabilities.
I noticed that I was having cognitive dysfunction even before I was diagnosed with the MS. And after I was diagnosed, I was still having these problems and found it very difficult for me to be doing my job. And I really couldn't put my finger on what exactly was going wrong. And after talking with my neurologist and being sent to a neuropsychologist for evaluation, she was able to pinpoint some of the cognitive dysfunction that was going on, and I was able to understand how it was impacting my ability to work. So together we came up with a plan for me to address these issues with my employer and work out a way to make sure that I could stay working. My use of using a Palm Pilot religiously, more so than other people do. I know a lot of people use Palm Pilots, but I rely on mine. I think I sometimes engineer situations so they're adapted to my needs. For example, if I'm chairing a meeting or a conference call, I will have an assistant back me up to take notes, because it's hard for me to do two things at once. I can't listen and respond and interact and keep track of what's going on, taking notes of what's going on. So things like that people don't notice. I also worked to minimize certain types of interaction that were very difficult for me, namely having hallway meetings. People would stop you in the hallway and say, well, what's the status of this project? Or what is this number that I need? Or I need you to do such and such, and they'd walk off. So we came to an agreement that I would be given notice when they needed information from me, or when a meeting was coming up, or it was okay for me to say, let me get back to you on that, and I could go back and get the information and present it in a coherent way. It was understood that I was doing this because I wanted to do an effective job. I wanted to do my job well, not because I didn't know how to do my job, or I was trying to put off meeting with somebody or cover my butt or something like that. So
Thank you.
Stopping those hallway meetings actually helped everybody become more productive. The issues that I was facing, while they seemed really dramatic to me, a lot of other people said, oh, I have that same problem, I can't remember things, or my attention gets distracted. And once we all sort of adopted this new policy of no hallway meetings, people were getting more work done because they had records of who's supposed to do what by when.
So Claire, what are some of the things that are causing problems for you at work?
Okay, I definitely have more fatigue. I mean, by mid-afternoon, all I can think about is a nap.
Okay.
And I do seem to be forgetting more and more lately.
Well, that should come in handy.
Yeah, that's why I got it. In about 6 weeks, I've got to go to Vegas to supervise the setup of the client's exhibit.
If she has to work 18 hours, we'll have this done the way you want it, and it'll be done on time.
I can't even imagine how I'll survive that.
Don't you think they could send someone else?
Yeah, I mean, they probably could, but Dave's got to know pretty soon. And those stairs, I mean, I can manage them for now, but there's going to come a time when I can't do them anymore.
Okay, well, here's a beginning list of items that you'll need to include in your disclosure statement.
Okay.
Now remember to stay proactive and take a positive approach.
Your employer and yourself are working together. There should be discussion involved. You're both are trying to get to a positive outcome, not only for you, but for the company as a whole.
It's not necessarily your employer's responsibility to provide those accommodations or to even come up with those accommodations for you. I think that your employer is going to be much more open and willing to assist you in the accommodation process if you take the time to think ahead. What is it that I need to do to accomplish my job responsibilities?
What we expect to have happen is that somebody talks with their boss, which means then you need to have a really good relationship with your boss. You need to not fear your boss. You need to be able to talk with them. They need to value you for your skills and your capability.
If an employee would need an accommodation, I would prefer they would just be clear and frank about what it is that they may need, because we might not understand what their life is about and how what they experience on a daily basis.
Anytime I've approached any employer asking for something, I've gone with a solution to the problem. I've gone in and said, you know, these are the things that I am trying to get there, or these are things that might help me to do what I need to do. And therefore, to present them with a variety of solutions, it has made it, I think, easier for them. But also, they don't have to come up with the way to solve the problem. They just have to be aware of it and support me in solving it.
They don't have to do all these things for you if you're not a good employee. They won't want to do this. They will resent you. Your coworkers will resent you. But if you take the responsibility for doing the best possible job that you can at your job, you're going to be somebody that they want to keep and they want to make happy. And they will be more than willing to make accommodations that you may need.
Okay, well, I guess it's time for me to set up my meeting with Dave, polish up my disclosure statement, and do it.
Sounds like you got it, girl.
All right.
So, how does this thing work anyway?
You want me to show you?
Yeah.
Gonna use one?
No.
I'll buy you one.